Hello, welcome to JAV Show. Today it's just me, Jorge. We're doing a solo podcast, so I'll do a podcast with a set of questions, and then the following week, Viv would do a similar podcast with a similar set of questions. Mainly because we've been really busy this summer, so it's hard to meet up. I think pretty much almost all of July we have not been able to meet up for anything, just because I've been busy, Viv has been busy, so there's been a lot going on. I hope your summer is quite active too. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. So pretty much Viv sent me some questions, I thought of some questions, and then we're just gonna answer them. Hopefully we'll keep this short, I guess. I'm sure the questions Viv asked, she probably has a lot to talk about. I don't think I have as much. I think some of the questions she asked is a bit straightforward, and then same the other way. A lot of the questions I asked, I think I have a lot to talk about, but she may think they're straightforward or not really that meaningful or thoughtful. So yeah, let's get this started, my friends. So the first one, this is from Viv. Let me get the wording exactly right, so then she won't say I'm scamming you guys. How would you restructure the world if money did not exist? I think this would be, first of all, I think this is kind of a really bad scenario if money didn't exist. We'd pretty much be going back in time where the accumulation of resources, just pure resources, would be what made you wealthy or whatnot, and then you have to barter and trade your resources for other things, and then that's when slavery comes in, and prostitution, or slavery and exploitation of people, like prostitution, happens, I think. Because essentially what you do is you'd have a lot of resources and you could use those to buy a lot of things. And some people may have skills or talent, but it doesn't translate to resources. So then they won't be able to do anything. Then they have to do super low, not even super low paying job, but slavery-like jobs, like farming with hand tools to get resources for someone who owns the land, and then they'll give you a portion of it, is what I think would happen if the world was restructured without money. I think there's always going to be a concept of money. Money's kind of nice because you could do a skill or talent or accumulate some type of product that people don't need at that exact moment, but then they might need later, and then they're willing to purchase it with money. But then without money, it gets a little convoluted because whatever skill or talent you have, say you live in Edmonton and no one cares about art, then you'll be essentially a beggar, right? But then if there's other people who want it somewhere else, you'd have to trade resources with them. You have to physically go there and trade that resource. If not, you'd have to trade it in a way of some type of online transaction, essentially going back to money, right? So if I had to restructure the world, I don't know. I would say I'd create a digital money, but if that's not allowed in the question, then I'd say we'd all end up slaves or poor, and a very few of us would become super rich, in terms of whatever that world would be like. So I don't know. Kind of hard question. I'm not too into the question. But yeah, I think money is just completely necessary for you to, especially people who don't have a direct skill that translate to a resource. So just example, I think human resources is useful, but in the world without money, they might be like, I know someone that could work for you to help you get more resources. But then you'd be like, well, okay, why do I need you? I can just talk to that person. There needs to be some intermediary where you get the resource itself. So I don't know, it just gets really confusing, I think. And then again, you end up with something like, I believe, slavery, because you have people who don't have a direct skill that translate to obtaining resources. Yeah, I mean, maybe the question was if the world was wealthy enough, the world as a whole was wealthy enough, what would you do? Then that's kind of different. But if you were just take away money, I feel like we would just turn something else into money, like Gucci bags or some bullshit like that. So I'm not sure about this one. Next one is gonna be for me. Next question is, I like to throw in fun ones for these ones. So mine is Apocalypse A Team, 4 people. So you plus 4 people. Fuck the feelings. Like, I get it. Everyone's going to want to bring their family because it's apocalypse. You want to save them. Okay, let's just say you can't. Let's just say, or you can, but let's not just say you want to bring them just for like emotional support, like they're your pet or something like that. It has to be justified on why you're bringing them. I think I have my 4, and one of them you guys might say doesn't count because it's kind of like family, but I still say it's not. So I'll start off with the non-controversial one. So I'll probably bring first of all my friend Jared. He's an older guy, not super old, but he's still pretty fit. He's an electrician, so that's gonna be useful in Apocalypse. He also works on cars a lot. He's very outdoorsy. So I think in an apocalypse setting, having someone who can understand those things related to electrical engineering, electrician stuff, being able to be in the outdoors, being able to, lift, carry things, etc. And he's hunted before and fish. I think he fishes more regularly. So I think those are all super useful in apocalypse situation. I'm not really saying the specific apocalypse because it'd be like Apocalypse A Team, right? Any apocalypse, these are the 4 you pick as like first round picks kind of thing. So I'll be my friend Jared. My next one would probably be my friend Dustin. His profession doesn't really relate, so he's just a project manager, but he has his own acreage. He hunts a lot. He raises chickens. I just feel like he has all the outdoor survival skill in order for our team to really make it through. So I think for sure those 2 are probably my top picks for pure survival. My next one, this is where it gets a little controversial, guys. I personally would like to pick Joyce, my girlfriend. Not just because she's my girlfriend, but she legitimately has a lot of life skills. So she can sew. She works on jewelry. She's really good at cooking and baking, and she has a really high, not IQ, but like she has a lot of knowledge on a lot of random shit. So like she doesn't have a lot of specific knowledge, but she has a lot of general knowledge, and not like a best justification for you guys or explanation for you guys, but for example, if we were to do like a crossword or like have a trivia night or whatever like that, she will always get a lot of the random shit that no one else knows. Like she may or may not know some of the super common stuff, which I find is like not that useful to know, but she'll always know all the random answers to the random questions. So, like she has a lot of random knowledge. And I think it's just because she just takes in a lot of like media content with like a lot of random stuff, like not just mainstream media stuff, but a lot of like other random stuff. So I feel like in the scenario of apocalypse, like having those random facts might help in a survival situation. But again, on top of the fact that she has a lot of life skills, like I think sewing is super important. I think, fixing things, cooking, making edible stuff. And then just being a team player, I think that's a pretty good all around pick. And then my last one, this one is kind of hard. So I thought, okay, to round out the team, I need someone in medical field. And at first, I initially thought my friend Julia, she's a pharmacist. But then I was like, I don't actually know how she's like outside in a outdoor environment, right? And the reason is like some people who do certain jobs, when it comes to like a bad environment, they may be more grumpy or grouchy or whatever. I'm not saying she is, but I've never experienced that with her. But one I do know for a fact is that Joyce's mom is a nurse. She's a good nurse, and she grew up in the Philippines, so she knows a lot of life skills. As in, like she knows how to start a fire. She knows how to like do a lot of outdoors practical shit, and she grew up in a third world environment. So like come apocalypse, when there's no running water or electricity, she probably won't bitch about those things, right? And the fact that my two other friends are also, very outdoorsy, and Joyce, her first several years of her life was in the Philippines, and she goes back like every other year. The fact that they can all, I feel like, wouldn't say just strictly survive, but like understand the hardships of being outdoors in the real world, I think is an A+ on the team, the system, and the dream team for the apocalypse. Again, I think the one I answered with Joyce is a little skewed, but again, like she literally grew up also in a third world country. Maybe not as much time as her mom, but I think she was there till she was like 6 or 7. So like she kind of knows like shit was bad there. This is good here, but she knows more survival skills. Like she knows how to start a fire. She knows how to split wood. She knows a lot of like very generic outdoor survival things. So I think that would probably be my dream team if I thought about it. I think I would bring some knowledge to the team in general, but I think my two other friends with outdoorsy stuff would bring a lot of knowledge and a lot of survivability. I'm a team player, so I think that will help. So yeah, I think that's probably my apocalypse. I really had to think about it because I was like, yeah, it'd be great to bring my family, because they're family and all, but I don't know. Like my sister's a nurse, but she's pretty useless. Like outside of nursing and like being a mother and stuff. But like I don't know. Like she doesn't like the outdoors. She doesn't like bugs, things like that. I think that would just drive me crazy. The other close second would probably be my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. He's also a nurse, and he's probably pretty good at outdoors. But I also thought like we need to balance it. We can't have too much testosterone on this team. Nothing wrong with testosterone, but like it's good to have the balance. Like we can't all be hunting at the same time. Like some of us have to be like, doing other things to help the team, and we have to be able to split the task properly, right? Like you can't just have like 4 hunters on a team and no one can cook, for example. Like that's just dumb, right? So I thought, having some balance, females have some other life skills that maybe men aren't innately good at. So I thought, having a balanced team, 2 guys, 2 girls, and then plus me as the A team, I thought that'd be a sick dream team. I did contemplate putting Viv on here, to be honest, but then I know she has a lot of random knowledge too, and I know she's a go-getter, but I think she would annoy me a little bit too much, and I think she doesn't bring enough skills compared to the other people. I don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm a top pick for other people, so like don't I'm not trying to offend her on this. I'm just saying, like, I also don't think I'm a top pick. I think the people I picked are a pretty good balance. So that'd be my apocalypse A team. That's my fun little question. Next one. This is from Viv. What concept took you a long time to understand or still don't understand? All right. I had to think a lot for this because a lot of times when I don't understand something and I care about it, I would actually spend a lot of time to truly fully understand it. But then I thought again about this question, and then I realized that there are some things that I probably still don't fully understand. And this is gonna sound dumb to some people, but I think the people who knows what I'm talking about a bit more would know exactly what I'm saying. So I think electricity is a little confusing. Like I understand people will explain, it's a river, the voltages, the whatever width of the river, and then current is the speed of the river and all that stuff. But like as soon as you get outside of the basics, because I took some electrical engineering courses, I had like some of the mechanical engineering courses I took does involve a lot of the electrical stuff, and I still thought that was one of the more ambiguous and hard to understand things, and I still feel like I don't fully understand right now, but it's something I want to, and I feel like that's been very difficult for me to wrap my head around, because I like to understand the world, the physical world, as much as I can, and not knowing about not specifically electricity, but like electrical stuff, right? Like how does a PCB work? Why does why do you need resistors in here? And I've done an electrical engineering course where we learn exactly why we need it there very basically, but it's so hard for me to put my head and wrap around some of that stuff. So I thought just not really electricity, but like maybe electromagnetism as a core with some of its stuff is kind of confusing to me. And I'll give you guys an example that was but wasn't anymore. So for example, software like computer programming was confusing to me for a bit, but as you do it a bit more, no, I'm not saying I'm a coder, but like as you learn a little bit more about that industry and what they do and how it's done, yeah, it's kind of ambiguous how like Hello World .exe eventually turns into Unreal Engine and all these games and stuff. That part still is a little convoluted, but I see how all these like little steps can stack up to make something really great. It's like an airplane. To me, an airplane is super complex, but all the individual parts makes complete sense to me, and then putting them together makes sense to me, and then having the airplane makes sense to me. Right? So that's how I treat software right now. It's like there's all these little functions, codes, sections of codes, databases, etc., and art and whatever else, and then you can put them all together, and eventually you'll go from hello world.exe to actual video game or stuff like that, right? So that made sense, but electronics is not really there for me because you go back to the same analogy. I understand what a resistor does. I understand, what a battery does, what all these little things do that are like the core basic concepts of electrical engineering or electronics. And then all of a sudden you get like your fucking Apple Watch or something like that. I'm just like, dude, this like that hardware transition is so fucking mind blowing for me. Like I don't completely understand all the concept. I don't completely understand all the electromagnetism actually is the overall arching concept that it's so hard for me. Like I understand, left right hand rule, magnets, running electricity and coils and creating magnetism and all that stuff, poles. Yeah, I learned all the basic concepts, but putting that together, it's just I just think it's a mind fuck. A lot of time in my brain, it feels like a black box. It feels like I see the electricity go in from here, and then I see the fucking output of the TV screen there, and then in the middle, it's just like I don't fucking know. I have no idea what's going on. So that's probably one concept I feel like I don't really understand. I still don't understand. I want to understand it. But I also feel like I'm not motivated enough to fully grasp the concept. But yeah, that's one. So the question was, what concept took you a long time to understand or still don't understand? And that's probably one of them. And that's probably the one I thought of right away, only because all the other concepts I don't really understand. I don't understand because I don't care to understand it, right? Like I don't understand Picasso. Like, yeah, and like I get it's art, it's colors and stuff like that, but I don't understand why people may enjoy it so much. Kind of, but yeah, like I don't care to understand why others don't enjoy it. I just care that I do enjoy certain works, right? So that's that one. Let's see how we're doing in time. We're doing pretty good in time. I'm actually rushing through these quite a bit, which is fine. We can have a shorter podcast today, so you guys can just get straight to the facts. This is another fun question, again from me. So last question was from Viv. The concept took you long to understand, the restructure of the world. My first question was Apocalypse 18. My next question is, if you had kids, smart or good looking? Now, the logical side of me instantly said, well, obviously smart. You could do so much with smart. But I do think good-looking people have some advantages in this world that smart people would never be able to get, no matter how much they calculate. Now, that being said, it also works the other way. There's some ugly-ass rich people there with the hottest supermodel girlfriends or wives in the world. But some of these good-looking people can also be very rich. So, I don't know. I want to say smart. Instinctively. Because no one likes to be a fucking dumbass. And you can get really far in life, being smart and all. But that being said, guys, if you were to apply to a job and everyone had the same credentials, but someone was handsome as fuck, I don't know, man. I feel like that guy just has some innate ability over everyone else. Or girl, like if some girl was pretty as fuck and they're like a super DEI company, you know, diversity and inclusion and stuff like that, that female might get the job just because they're super good looking, right? Now the other thing about this question is kind of weird. Again, this is my question, so I obviously fucked this one up. Again, I just googled this online. I wonder if one means you can't have the other. So you can be smart, but you have to be ugly as fuck, or you have to be super good looking, but you know, you're not all there, right? And I thought about it. I was like, I guess if you're super smart, you could just have a bunch of plastic surgery and fix a lot of shit. If that's what you think is blocking you from reaching your maximum potential, that's possible too. And if you're super good looking but kind of dumb, you'll probably get taken advantage of. But it also depends on the gender. Because I feel like I think I know some females on OnlyFans that aren't all there, but they're, you know, they have a lot of simps around them and they're making bank with it. But will that money ever last for them because they're so dumb? I don't know. But I think I've converged on one answer here. I think it's probably smarts. Even though they're ugly as fuck, which is kind of sad, you know. You have kids, they were super ugly, which could only mean, you know, it's you or your wife or both of you are ugly too. Which created this spawn here, so it's just a little heartbreaking, you know, knowing that they're ugly as fuck. But I think I'd probably end up taking the smart and ugly as fuck. Just because they'll actually have a real life. They won't be like taken advantage of. They'll be able to try their best because their thought process could give them a higher potential in life in general. Right. So I think I'll probably lean to that. But I feel like this isn't as clear an answer. I think to some people it might be. But I think if you kind of think about it in reality, where people do get objectified and biased based on good looks, and you can say all you want, saying like, oh no, you know, it's about your skills and abilities and whatever it is to really get you a job or where you are in life. But no, like seriously, I feel like some people are just fucking good looking and they just get through, you know what I mean? Like if my kids look like Leonardo and they could get an acting job, fuck, they might get it all, right? So it's hard to say, but I'll go with my instincts, which is smart for that one. But I like I said, I think it's actually kind of pretty controversial for this one. All right, this next one is from Viv again. So I'm just bouncing 1 2 1 2 1 2 between the two of us. Her question is, do you believe in the afterlife? What do you think happens when you die? This one, again, I think for me is a little bit more straightforward. I'm Buddhist and I'm very actively Buddhist. So I believe in reincarnation. So pretty much how it is, it's you get reincarnate. Karma isn't like how people think of it, as in like, you know, you cut someone off and or someone cuts you off and then they get a speeding ticket or something like that. That's not really how karma is. It's like all the good and bad stuff you do in this life gets repaid for in the next life. And all the good and bad stuff that happened last life is what you're repaying for in this life, right? So in general, it's just like be a good person because it'll come back, maybe not as soon as people think it is, which is what the common concept of karma is. But in the Buddhist concept, that's what it is. So like, from the stories I heard, the Buddhist stories I heard, it's you die and then you get your sins or whatever. Pretty much all in all, everything gets kind of like put together, calculated and shit. You go through I forgot what it's called. Like my brother would be really good on this question and the Buddhist concept. But pretty much you are reborn in the next life, but then there's also different realms of the next life. So like being human is one realm, being an animal is another realm. And again, animal is actually the worst. Or not the worst, it's like bottom. Like being human is actually the highest tier. just the fact that you have free will and free choice. Being an animal, you have that, but it's convoluted. It's like you don't have the complete brain capacity to not kill and harm other things, because you're just doing it for pure survival, right? I think reincarnation can also be human, animal. I forget. There's a bunch, but all in all, like, human is like top dog. Like, you want to be human because you have the freedom of choice, and or most people do, at least, and free will and stuff. So that's what I believe in. I truly believe in that. I feel like if there's no science that can answer the question, then you go to religion, right? That's what almost all people do. That's one of the, I wouldn't say benefit, but like one of the results of, or relationship between religion and science is just like whatever you can't really explain, you go towards religion and you try to find a higher meaning in that stuff. So that's what I think. It's nothing fancy, nothing jazzy about it. I don't think we turn into, we decompose and we become a tree or some bullshit like that. I just think you just reincarnate into your next life. Nothing more to it. And also because human is such high regards, Buddhism, like all religion, treats suicide very, very seriously, as in like you should not do it. I think in Buddhism, it's like if you suicide this life, you're gonna suicide the next 10 lives, and it's like gonna be hard lives. I mean, the fact that you already did it the first time means it was already a hard life, and it'll be continue to be hard lives that you'll live. So yeah, that's what it is, and I kind of agree with that. Like, life's a gift. Don't fucking just trash on it like that. So yeah, that's what I also believe in too. So. It's not something wild. Next one. Again, I like to do the fun ones. Viv like to go really deep for some reason. I usually like to do fun random ones. So this one's for me. If you could teach one subject in each, say, like, level of schooling, what would each of them be? Right. Well, this is kind of fun because it's kind of unique, kind of different. If I could teach just one subject in elementary, which I don't think is the case. I think you usually teach multiple subjects. But if I could teach one, it would probably be science, I think. I think math in elementary school is just weird. Like, kids are either, I feel like the kids, they either get it or they don't. There's no real teaching, if that makes sense. It's like some of them just fucking, it just clicks. They got it. The Asian ones, they know. And then for some kids, it's like no matter how much fucking fast math, multiplication tables, all this other stuff, number of apples, if you had a basket of 10 apples, all this shit, no matter how many times you do that with them, they just don't get it. And I think it is what it is. It would just be so frustrating to teach math. Language arts, let's say, so English for us, English class, I think would also be kind of weird in elementary school, because you'll have a subset, probably the majority here in North America, of students who are pretty good at English already because they speak at home, and then a subset who are immigrant families or from another country, and it's gonna be really, really, really hard for them. So it's almost like you have to teach two different classes in one class for English. So it's like kind of tough. I personally wouldn't want to do it. Art, music, fuck that. I'm not good at that stuff, so don't even ask me about that one. Social studies would be kind of interesting. So social studies for us is kind of a mix of community studying and history here in Edmonton. The history stuff would suck because you teach them history, but you can't teach them all the cool shit about history. The cool shit about history is essentially drama, like people getting killed, people getting fucked, people like dying, or people being a hero, etc., etc. Like those are all like super cool stuff about history. But at the elementary age, there's no shot. Like there's no way you're allowed to teach that stuff. You can just teach about the basic stuff, like, oh yeah, roads were made out of whatever. They use copper tools to do that, like just fucking boring stuff. So that's out of it. What else was there in school? I'm trying to think. Gym class. I don't think I would enjoy gym class because I feel like these kids are just so like fucking fragile, and I don't know. I just feel like they just wouldn't be good at any sport. Like you'd be trying to like teach them basketball, and it's like I don't know, just boring. I think, and it's just whatever. And you have to like pretend they're good at it, so you have to like cheer them on or like not be a dick about it, right? At least at the elementary level. So like in junior high and high school, you can be a dick about it and it'd be hilarious, right? But at elementary, you can't really. So I think it'd be science. Science would be kind of cool because like you just show them random concept. Do they really understand it? I don't know. No one cares, right? No one's taking it that seriously. They do. They don't. You know, they can have cool book or cool presentation reports. Bit a little bit of hands-on stuff. You get to go to the cool field trips. I think for sure science for elementary. Now, if I had to teach let me loop junior high and high school together. What would I want to teach in junior high and high school? I think the problems I have with every other subject do not really present themselves in junior high and high school. So, for example, history would actually start to be fun to teach because you could objectively say, yeah, this guy died and this guy killed him is because he had a relationship with his wife or something like that. And that's fine. It's facts. And yeah, it might be a little gory and stuff, but they're all of the age that you can talk about those things. So that'd be kind of cool. But then they're all super hormonal and shit. And it's just kind of annoying, is what I think, at least. I think math would be okay, but you'd have a lot of like really dumb students that you'd have to figure out with because the same problems that you had in elementary still present themselves in junior high and high school. But then for some people, it just doesn't click. Like for some people, no matter how hard they try, there's no light bulb that flips on for them for math. And then the concepts just get harder, right? So it's like, I don't know what the fuck I can really help them with, right? At this point, you just show them the same thing over and over again. It just feels like such a losing battle, I guess. English, I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not good at any of that stuff. Any life sciences stuff I probably won't do. So like cooking or foods class, probably not. Like the fact that you have all these hormonal teenagers trying to cook something and you have to make sure they don't burn down the school, I feel like it's very stressful. Or like construction class, make sure a kid doesn't chop off their thumb. I think that'd be really stressful situation as a teacher. It'd be fun because you can like use tools and shit and like just play around and stuff, but it'd still be kind of stressful. Forget about arts. I don't really want to do social. I'm thinking in junior high school, I think I would want to do something related to computer science. Because I feel like you could work two jobs. Like you could do some freelance work while you're teaching the kids, or you could like get them to do your freelance work for you. The only caveat to this is that you gotta like tighten the shit out of the security system because there's gonna be that one kid who wants to watch porn in class, and then you're gonna get in trouble if he's able to, right? But to me, I think for me that's really good because I'd be super motivated to be kept up to date with like technology and kept up to date with security system protocols and cybersecurity stuff, which is what I think is like, those are pretty cool stuff. I don't have like a comp sci background, but I thought that'd be kind of cool. Like other than that, I would love to do something obviously in my field, like mechanical engineering, but like if they taught robotics, but that's such a niche thing to teach. It's kind of hard to include in this class, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'll teach some, pro figure skating and shit. I was like, that's so niche. That's like a very, very special school that does that. And only like one teacher can do that in that school in all of that province or state or something like that, right? So that's kind of not fair to pick that. Maybe robotics, that's maybe getting more into reality, or like more potentially into the schooling or the education system, which makes it a possibility to teach in that. But if not, it'd probably be like computer science type of stuff or just a computer course. Just teach them some like basic stuff. And then it's kind of nice because you have to be kept up with AI. You'd have to be kept up with just programming stuff. Like nowadays they probably still learn like Microsoft Word and Excel at like elementary level, but probably at the junior high and high school level they might be learning some cooler shit, right? Like they might eventually learn some like Power BI shit. They might learn some other Python stuff or some very intense photoshopping stuff, like some Adobe like super crazy shit, or like Blender to do 3D modeling, or SolidWorks to do, you know, mechanical 3D modeling. So I think comp sci would be such a cool thing to teach, and there's probably a lot more job availability if I had to teach that. So in the junior high school range, I think that's what I would aim for. In college, if I could teach something in college, well, first of all, I'd have to be an expert in it. So that would be not very many things. But if I could be an expert at something and teach at a college, I think it might be 3D modeling / alternative manufacturing techniques. I think that's something I'm super into. So like 3D printing or other things. So pretty much other ways to make things is like advanced manufacturing techniques, and then 3D modeling is just like the software, how to like build something with the 3D model. I think that'd be a really fun course to teach, and it'd be really cool to research on, because typically what you teach in university is something you're skilled at. So like my thermodynamics prof, they probably research something very relatively closely related to thermodynamics. So is fluid mechanics, solid mechanics, etc., etc., right? So then in college, I would fucking love to teach people about 3D modeling and alternative manufacturing, or not, like I call it alternative manufacturing, but it's pretty much like up and coming stuff, like, you know, 3D printing, vacuum forming, water cutting, laser cutting, CNC, things like that, right? And there's different scenarios, right? So like at the college level, you might just, or like at a technical institute level, you might just teach some of the more practical, useful shit. So like actually applying it, and then at the university level, it would be the theories behind it, right? And I think that would be something I'd be really into. I think that would be super fun, and I'd be really, really into that type of work. Yeah. So yeah. So I think those would be it. So I'll recap that. Elementary would be math, or sorry, science. Junior high school probably like computer programming, robotics maybe, and then college level, university level would be like alternative or advanced manufacturing / solid modeling. I think that'd be the coolest shit. All right, next one's a Viv question. So this one, let me read the full question. I just draw it down, but I should get the full question out for you guys. If you could time travel, where in time would you travel to, and what would you do? Ooh, I don't. This one's tough. All right. I would probably only go back in time if it was to see some really cool event, but at the same time, it might not be that cool. Like, I'd be down to go and see if Jesus was real, right? You know, the three nobles, whatever, and you know, the stuff. That'd be kind of cool. But at the same time, was that exaggerated? I don't know. Like are those stories even real? Because if they're not, I'd go back in time in that location and nothing would happen. I'm like, fuck, man, I got tricked, right? Because like if you could only do it once, then I feel like you have to like really think about it and really pick it right. The other one would be like the building of the pyramids. That would be really cool. Because that would solve the age-old question if it was real or if it was aliens. The other one would be Göbekli Tepe, so that's like South America. It's like when they did their mega structure, that'd be kind of cool. Something more recent shit, like I don't know. I'm not. I feel like I wouldn't really want to go to the past. So like if I were to answer this, I'd probably go to the future. But past, I don't know. Like I feel like the way people explain and exaggerate stuff of how great the past was just purely a false fragment of their memory. Like people were like, man, in the 50s the hot dogs were so good. I was like, well, is it, or is it like your mind? The nostalgia created a positive feeling. So then when you thought about, you know, the food in the 50s, it was better than the food now. I'm actually not sure, because if food was similar to most things in life, it probably got better over time. For example, like the electronics now are better than the electronics before. when we talk about creative stuff, I truly believe the books, music, and movies are objectively better now than they were before. Now there's some subjectiveness to it, but I think like objectively the stories were better, the language was better, the flow was better of the books now. Movies, there was just more budget, more production to the movies created now, and better technology to create those movies now to tell the story properly. And in artwork, like because there's more art being created now than there was before, if your art is okay, it's not going to make it. Whereas like back in the day, if in the Renaissance period, if there was only so many artists, yeah, if your art was good, probably maybe I've made it. But now it's like you got to be the fucking best. Like I know there's a lot of consumers now, but there's also a lot of producers. So that means like you got to be top dog and you got to be like really really fucking good at it. So if food and life and everything else was similar to the concepts of what I just talked about, then it must be better now. Like the I get it. The hot dogs might have a lot of shitty preservative now, but if you went to a chef and be like, "Hey, make me your best hot dog ever," and he went out, he bought the exact ratios of meat, he grinded himself, he made the fucking sausage casing and shit. The hot dog's probably better now than it was back then, right? Yeah, price wise, it's whatever. But if you're going to whatever timeline, like I'm not gonna talk about the price and shit. It's like I'm not gonna go fucking back in time to the 1950s just to buy groceries just because it was so fucking cheap as a one-time thing, right? I was like, fuck, I'm not using my one-time travel in time thing to fucking buy groceries or like, yeah, those things, right? Now there is a thing you can say, like maybe you go back in time, figure out like lottery number, or you go back in time, buy a bunch of stocks in this one company, and then now you're like super rich and shit. Yeah, that's kind of cheesy, right? It's like it's I feel like it doesn't go to the feeling and the heart of the question. If you could time travel, where in time would you travel to and what would you do? It feels like you want to really experience and see something very amazing, and not use that to create some like eternal benefit now. It just feels kind of cheesy if you do that, right? So going back in time, if the question was just saying only back in time, I'd probably be like, go see the pyramids or something like that. Definitely not 9/11. Definitely nothing war related. I don't really want to see that shit. The falling of the Berlin Wall, that'd be kind of cool, maybe. The building of the Great Wall of China, like the final completion of it, that'd be pretty cool. I personally, whenever I go to any cities, I love seeing mega structures. So it'd probably be something related to mega structures. Napoleon coming back from war, going through the gates, like that'd be fucking pretty cool. Like that's something that'd be pretty sick. So it'd probably be mega structure related. Top ones for if I went to the past would probably be like Great Wall of China, pyramids, Göbekli Tepe, Napoleon, that'd be kind of cool. Oh, seeing Genghis Khan's empire, just like hanging out with him, seeing it, having a feast with him, that'd be kind of cool. Some Mongolian / Chinese hoes, that'd be a pretty fun time. So that'd be restrictive if I had to go back in time, because like other than that, I feel like everything else, if you only get one shot at it, I'm not gonna do something fucking dumb about it. I want to do something life changing, right? And I want to do something very certain. Again, like I'm not gonna go back and try to find Jesus if it was true or not. Not sure about that one, right? So hard to say if it was one. Honestly, I'd kind of be down to go and see Genghis Khan sack some cities and just chill with him. Like not actually like go and fight or anything like that, but just after they're done, they have a feast, hang out with them. Have the hang. Be kind of cool. Or see the pyramid get built. That'd be kind of cool too. I think those are probably my top two right now. Great Wall of China is kind of cool, but still there. So I don't know. Or if Atlantis was true, it'd be kind of cool to look at that. I know there's been some sightings at some parts of the Sahara Desert. So like just the fact that you're in the Sahara Desert during the time that it was like a rainforest would be kind of cool too. Just to like see or experience something. It's nothing nothing concrete in terms of an experience, like not eating anything specific or talking to any specific person. That being said, like, you know, Genghis Khan, still pretty cool, right? But if this question had no limits, I would actually go to the future. When? I'm not sure. I like to see if we made it. So I believe if we can survive the next 300 years, we can survive. So I would say maybe like 500 years into the future, somewhere on Earth. It'd have to be a guess of where I think like the next hub, right, is of Earth. It's also a complete guess. Like, there's all these super crazy scenarios where all of life gets wiped out. So I might go to the future and just see like nothing. Like, it's just complete death, right? Like one really bad solar flare could turn us back to the Stone Age. Yellowstone National Park. If that volcano blows up, we're all fucked. There's just so many things that could happen that could just absolutely destroy all of civilization. But if it were to make it, I think in the next 300 years would be the time frame where it would like establish itself as type 1 or beyond civilization, as in like it can control and mitigate all the disasters within Earth itself, and possibly use that as fuel and energy to go and look for stuff within our or other solar systems, right? So that'd probably be what I'd be most excited about, because you could see all the cool shit, right? Like, maybe I go there and everything's fucking virtual, as in like it's all a simulation and shit, right? Well, at least at that point I'll kind of know. I'll know the answers to life, and you know, that'd still be something. I wouldn't be sad to see. It's just be like, cool, I learned that. That'd be really cool. But yeah, it'd be like go to the future, experience that life. Just because I just have doubts I can do that in my lifetime. Like, I do want to live forever, but I don't know. Like, there's some biological limitations to living to 300. But those are biological limitations right now. It may not be in the future, right? So that's a possibility that we have to think about. But yeah, I'd probably, if the question was future or past, I would probably go future. And then if it was forced to be past, I think probably be when the pyramids was being built or almost done being built. You know, having a feast with those people and just seeing it, that'd be some cool shit. Just like seeing and experiencing the mega structure. No specific event in the past. Again, like I said, I think everything just gets better with time. So, you know, like, no way there's a rave in the past that was so good that I can't go to a rave nowadays that would be similar, right? Maybe not right now, but like in the next 2 years, you know, fire party or something like that, right? Fire island or whatever. So that's what I think, at least. All right, my last question. Let's see how I was inspired. Okay, so my last question is kind of a weird one, but it's pretty much, what's the most paranormal shit that's happened to you? Again, I like to go for the trolley ones, or the most like weird ones. I have several actually. So I don't know what's more like weird or freaky. So I guess I'd say them all, and I'd let you guys kind of decide on which one you think is the most weird and freaky one. Actually, one that just happened recently was a little freaky. It wasn't too bad. It was like, I was downstairs in my washroom. I was brushing my teeth, and then the light started making a sound, and then all of a sudden, like, one of the two bulbs just went out. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of freaky." But that one, just, you know, electricity shit. Like I said, I don't understand that stuff, so it is what it is. Another one was a nightmare I've had once. So the nightmare I had was a super freaky one. So it was in my basement, and okay, so just background knowledge, my sister loves scary movies. She's scared the fuck out of it. So like, she's, you know, it's kind of weird. Like, she'll kind of want to watch a scary movie, and then she'll sleep in my room for the next like 2 weeks, right? So one time I had a dream where I was in my basement, and then I saw my sister next to me. Like, she was like in the basement too. I was just like, you know, just went out to my room, to the, you know, normal living room den area, and then I saw my sister, and she looks like scared as fuck. Like, she looked like she was like scared completely. I was like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And she's like, "Look at this." And then I was like, "What?" And then she was like trying to show me something, and then all of a sudden she disappeared. I was like, what the fuck? And the thing she was showing to me was like in the couch, right? So then I was like, okay. So then I went to the couch, and then it was like kind of like under the cushion. So I started like opening it, and then as soon as I started like touching the couch, like the lights in the basement started like flickering like crazy, like on off, on off, on off, on off, on off, on off. And then as soon as I got near the couch like opened up, and then there's like the grudge girl just like looked at you, right, with her like fucking hair down and ugly ass face. Actually, not really the grudge girl. It's kind of like a mix of grudge girl and the exorcist girl, and she's just screaming at you. And then the lights kept flickering, but the washroom lights were on. And I looked over there, and then it's just like my sister. And then all of a sudden, everything just. Actually, no, sorry, I remember wrong. I looked over, I saw my sister, and then she disappeared again. And I looked back, and then the grudge girl just like went right into my face. And then I woke up from that dream. I was like, holy! Like I woke up with the sweats too. I was like, woke up, looked around, I was like, damn, that's a pretty wild dream. That's a pretty nightmarish dream right there. That was, I guess, not really paranormal. That would be like a nightmare kind of situation, right? Like a nightmare thing. So yeah, not really a paranormal, but for sure a scary nightmare. I think that would be probably, so again, the whole light flickering thing, that whole nightmare was pretty bad. I've had sleep paralysis before. When you're just there and it just feels like, something's coming to get you. So that's some pretty wild paranormal shit before. Other than that, I don't think it's too much. I saw a bird eat another bird's head in real life before. I was just walking by at work, and this crow stepped on this pigeon, and then I was like, what the fuck? And then 2 seconds later, half the pigeon's head's coming off. I was like, fuck this. I just left. I was like, I'm letting nature do its thing. I'm leaving. And then when I came back, it was like a headless pigeon. I was like, fuck, that's kind of paranormal. Not like paranormal as in like I saw a ghost, but it's like, I think usually when a bird dies near you in your life, it's like very ominous and like kind of scary and shit. So I had that happen before. Also, like I think one time I had a bird fly into the window near me and die, and that was similar timing to when my aunt passed away. So I was like at the time I was like, oh, that's kind of freaky, a little bit paranormal-ish. Trying to think if there's any other crazy scary scenarios, but I think not really. I feel like if you had the super paranormal thing and you live through it, like that's kind of, like something's gonna get you, because they don't want you telling those stories, So I don't have anything that wild, but I thought it'd be kind of cool. I was thinking Viv has a pretty exciting life, so I'm kind of interested to hear what she says on that stuff too, on paranormal stuff. But no, yeah, that was, I guess, my last question. Just a random one, I guess. I didn't have too much for this week. We were actually hoping to do a real podcast with the two of us this week, but just things came up and we just weren't free, so then we had to do solo. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed Jorge's solo podcast, just talking about random shit, ranting about random stuff with you guys, sharing some cool questions, experiences. Hope you guys kind of think about it too. I think if I were to pick for one of you guys to remember as the ending of this podcast, to really think about it yourself, it's probably your Apocalypse A-Team. You guys, I had to really think about it. I had to be like, fuck, I want my best friends there with me, but at the same time, like, they're not really good with outdoorsy shit. And again, like, let's not beat around the bushes and whatever. Let's just say, like, purely for survival. Like, you have to survive the next 30 days with this group of 4 people. And feelings aside and shit, it's just purely about, like, not starving and not dying and shit. What are the 4 people you pick, right? And it has to be real people, too. Like, I can't be like, give me fucking Bear Grylls, Survivor Man, and like all these fucking things. No, it has to be like kind of realistic, right? Like you can't pick like the fucking Navy SEALs and the world's best surgeons and and all these fucking nurses and shit. No, it has to be super realistic. So like if you do know a doctor, that's just a benefit to you, right? Maybe you should be nicer to your friend, because one day it's apocalypse, you might need them, right? Or like your one friend who is into doomsday prepping. You make fun of them now, but come apocalypse time, they're prepared and you're not. And I would say the same for me. I would not be prepared, and they would be prepared. And maybe I shouldn't have been such a dick to them, and talk to them a bit more and not judge them for what they like to do, right? But yeah, that's about it for this podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying your summer, and I think next week would be Viv's version, and then hopefully after that we'll have a normal podcast for you guys. So that's about it. See you guys. Bye.